Hello, thank you for joining me on your mat. For today's practice, we're going to be utilizing 2 blocks, a strap, and a blanket. We're going to get started in a comfortable seat, easy seat, what we call Sukhasana. So to get there, I like to take a block directly under my sit bones. Bringing the knees out wide. We're going to start by just taking some intuitive movement. Listen to your body, maybe close the eyes. For me, that's going to be rocking back and forth. Maybe you want to press one knee away as we lean to the side. Maybe press the other knee away. We may want to wiggle. We may want to reach. We may want to twist. Roll out the wrists. Move around the fingers. Maybe wiggle the toes. Just take this time to get into your body. Starting to find your breath as we ground down into the knees. Noticing the tilt of the pelvis, rotating that pelvis forward. So we're opening up the front of the belly. We're making room for the lungs. Draw the shoulders down and back, shoulders stacked with the hips. Hands can come onto the knees, palms face down to ground, palms flip up to receive. Let's close the eyes and just breathe. You don't have to change the breath. You don't have to try to control the breath. Just notice. Noticing the depth of the inhale, the length of the exhale. See if we've even taken a full breath yet today. Let's inhale to our fullest, slowly. Taking one more sip when you get to the top. See if we can bring in just a little bit more. Then exhale it all out, sigh it out. 2 more just like that. Inhale, fill it up to the top. One more sip when you get to the top. Then sigh it out. One more. Inhale gently all the way to the top. Creep to the top this time. Take a little bit longer to inhale. Bring an extra little sip. Maybe one more sip. Then gently sigh it out softly. Let the shoulders drop down. Elbows get heavy. Lengthen from behind the ears. Slow, steady breath. In and out through the nose. See if we can find our Ujjayi Pranayama if it's in your practice. With the inhales, become just as long as the exhales. We build a rhythm, finding that slight constriction in the back of the throat. Much like when it's cold outside, we check to see if we could view our breath. We go, It is that same sensation, but closed mouth through the nose. Stay with me, just breathe. Taking your time to get onto your mat, into your body. 2 more breaths just to arrive. Let the elbows hang heavy again. Drop the shoulders, soften the brow. If we stay with those steady breaths, find some circles with the neck. Draw the chin down to the chest first, then guide the ear to the shoulder. Taking your time here. Move slowly. Move intentionally. Infusing the movement with the breath, bringing the oxygen in, saturating that blood flow as we bring the awareness to the areas that need the blood flow, that need that new, fresh oxygen. 2 more slow breaths in this direction. So you switch directions, stay with your breath. Again, take these movements slowly, take them intentionally, guide the head as far in every direction as feels good for you. Offer your body 2 more breaths here, however you want to be. Returning back into center, lengthening up from behind the ears, draw the shoulders down and back. Press the solar plexus forward. That's right in the front of the belly. So again, adjusting the pelvis to press forward, ground down into the knees. One big inhale here, lift the shoulders up to the ears. On the exhale, drop it all. Send the legs out wide as feels good. So as we come here, I like to remove the block from under my glutes and place a blanket under my glutes. This helps me continue to rotate the pelvis forward. So we're taking a wide-legged seat here. Maybe inch those heels out a little further. Maybe remove the flesh from the sit bones or wiggle back onto that blanket. As we again notice the pelvis, rotate the pelvis to press forward. So we're not flaring it so far that we're opening the chest and distorting the body, but we're taking note of the tilt of the pelvis. When we are seated and the pelvis is tucked, naturally it scrunches the core. We have less room for the lungs. The posture naturally changes. But if we draw the shoulders down and back, press and tilt that pelvis forward. Enough to lengthen and stack the spine all the way to the crown. Lift the crown up to the ceiling. Noticing the heels. See if the feet are bowing in or bowing out. Try to stay neutral if that feels good for you. Hands can come into center. Palms can face down or palms can flip up. Wherever you are, tuck those elbows in close. Lengthen up from behind the ears. Close the eyes so you can hear the body better. Ujjayi breath. Grounding down into the sit bones, keep the spine stacked as we move like a metronome. Just rock the body from side to side. Trying to anchor down in that opposite glute every time you lean to the side. Pressing down into that hip. Trying to open and wake up that psoas. Breathe. If you want to get a little bit more fluid with this movement, keep the spine, the shoulders, and the hips on the same plane, but let the body roll to the side. Even let the head hang heavy. Think about opening the ribs, but again, the shoulders are not falling down nor turning up. We keep everything on the same plane. Let the inhales roll you to center. And the exhales slide to the side. As much or as little as you'd like. Inhale, center, stay with your breath. Exhale, open. Inhale, center. Exhale to the side. Inhale, center, roll the shoulders down and back, lengthen up from behind the ears. Take 2 breaths here just to settle into that energy. Notice what has shifted. Grounding down into the legs, ground down into the sit bones. Keep the spine nice and long. Find circles with the spine. Stirring the pot here. Guiding everything around. So we try to keep that pelvic tilt anchored. The glutes anchored, the legs anchored. So every time we lean to the right, we're pressing down into the left. Guiding as far back and as far forward as feels good. And we only want to go as far forward that the glutes do not lift up off of the mat. One more breath in this direction. On the bottom of that breath, switch directions. And just notice the breath. Start inhaling every time you lean forward and around. Exhale as you lean back and around. One more complete breath, all the way to the top and all the way to the bottom. As everything comes back into center, spine gets nice and long first. Taking the right foot to the inner thigh, bend into the right knee. Coming to a seated tree, we find ourselves grounding down into the mat. So if there's a lot of pressure on this right knee upon bending it, oftentimes because that right hip is tight, that's okay. Let's offer support. Take a block or blanket under that knee. Bring it as close, as high as you need. Maybe build a lot of support if that feels best. We may just want a whisper of support. You may want nothing. Wherever you are, get nice and tall here. Again, notice that pelvic tilt. As we lengthen up, find our circle. Spine stays long. Inhale forward and around. Exhale back and around. Close the eyes. During these movements, I want you to listen to your breath. I want you to let that tune you into your body, your experience. Take these circles as far in every direction as feels good. Trying to keep that chin away from the chest so we're not rolling the head too much around here. In the bottom of the next breath, switch directions. Switch the breath. So inhale every time you lean back and around opposite way. Exhale as you lean forward and around. One more breath, complete your circle. As you come back into center, get nice and tall, lengthen up to the ceiling, neck is long. As we release the hands down to the side, shine the palms forward. Spread the fingers wide. Inhale, reach the hands tall. On the exhale, reach the body forward, finding a forward fold here. Now the fingertips can come to the mat. We may be right here. If you are higher up, press the heart forward. Lead with the ribs on this fold. If you feel it good in your body, you can roll the body down, maybe extend the arms long, maybe flip the palms up to show a sign of surrender. Let the head hang heavy if that feels good for you. Take 2 of your slowest breaths. Really soften on those exhales. Surrender to your edge as much as feels good. As the fingertips come to the ground or the mat, inhale, slowly roll the body up, 1 vertebrae at a time. Bring the head up very last. As the head gets nice and tall, pressing the heart and the solar plexus forward, take 1 big breath. Light sigh. In your own time, switch the legs. Send the right leg long, bring the left foot in. Notice on this side if we want and need support. For me personally, my left hip is a little tight, so I do need that extra support under the knee. The body will not surrender if it doesn't feel safe. Give yourself the support you need. Grounding down in the glutes, grounding down in the legs, lengthening in the spine. Find your breath, find your circles. Inhale as you lean forward and around. Exhale as you lean back and around. Maybe close the eyes to hear the body better. On the bottom of that final breath, switch directions. Inhale as you guide it back and around, opposite way. Exhale as you lean it forward and around. Start to listen to your body. Maybe you want a little bit more fluidity in these movements. Maybe you want to add a little something. Take it. Let your practice be everything you need. Deep, deep breaths included. One more full breath here, all the way to the top. And exhale it all out. Complete that circle. As we slowly come back into center, grounding down in the legs, drawing the shoulders down and back. Take one complete breath. As we release the hands down to the side, shine the palms forward. Inhale the arms up and wide, reach it to the sky. Exhale, reaching forward. Eventually finding your surrender, wherever that may be. It may be way out here, it may be closer in. Flip the palms up as a sign of surrender. Remember, it doesn't matter how far we fold. It's all about how deep we breathe. Let the head hang heavy. Ujjayi breath. You can even let that inhalation grow the spine a little longer. And the exhalation soften you deeper. One more breath here, all the way to the top. All the way to the bottom. Get everything you need from that surrender. Allow the inhalation to roll the body up one vertebrae at a time. Lengthen the crown of the head. Last, draw the shoulders back. Take one big breath. Soft sigh. So we bring both feet to touch. Soles of the feet to touch. We can bring blocks on either the sides of the knees. We're coming to a Baddha Konasana. Now, I want you to evaluate how you feel here. If you like sitting on the blanket and the blocks along the knees feels good, keep it. For me, I still feel like my spine is rounding, like I'm struggling, like I need to pull myself forward and it's not comfortable. I'm going to bring a block under my glutes, give myself that little bit of more height, readjusting, bringing the soles of the feet to touch, and then noticing from here, do I still want the same support I did initially? Take it as you need. As we lightly ground down into the legs, so just gently pressing, not forcing. Notice the tilt of the pelvis, rotating forward. Make room for the lungs. Draw the shoulders down and back. Close the eyes and breathe. Inhales just as long as the exhales. And on the very bottom of that exhale, release the hands to the side, shine the palms forward. Inhale, hands up high, reach it. On the exhale, gently reach it forward. Find a fold here. Now, when I say find a fold, I mean start to extend. If this puts a lot of pressure on the lower back, the SI joint, keep the spine extra long, just lead with the ribs. The second it starts to get pinchy, spicy in the glute, like right in there in that SI joint, stop, just back off. If this feels good, if this feels fluid, continue pressing forward with the belly and find that deep surrender wherever you are, 2 intentional breaths. Inhaling gratitude into the body, thanking the body, honoring the body. And exhaling what is no longer serving us. On the inhalation, roll the body up, roll the shoulders back. Send both legs long in front of you. Windshield wiper. Let those feet flop from side to side. Plant the hands back behind you. You can draw the shoulder blades together. If it's in your practice, let the head hang heavy. Let it sit back onto the shoulders. Flop the feet. Move around the energy in the glute. Where that hip meets the leg. On the bottom of your next breath, let the inhalation guide you back to center. Let's roll the body forward, tabletop. Plant the hands under the shoulders, knees under hips. Spread the fingers nice and wide. As the fingers spread wide, notice if we're just dumping into the body here. Notice if the shoulders are collapsed, the body feels heavy, like we're putting a lot of weight into the wrists. I want us to notice, are the feet together to touch? Look between the knees, make sure we can't see the feet. Having them out, knees directly under hips, hands directly under shoulders. Intentionally spread the fingers wide. Pulling the shoulder blades apart, lightly engaging just to lift out of the wrist. Take the energy guiding up. As we tuck the toes under, if it's in your practice, start to rock the body back and forth. No rush here. We're not in a hurry. So we start to find circles with the body. Guide the body as far in every direction as feels good for you. Start to pair these movements with the breath. Inhale as you lean it forward and around. Exhale as you guide the tail back towards the heels. In the bottom of that breath, switch directions, switch the breath. Inhale as you lean it back and around. Exhale as you lean it forward and around. One more breath, complete your circle. So we come back into center, shake out those wrists if they feel a little sticky. Start to move them around. We're gonna wake them up. We're gonna say thank you to these hands. One hand at a time. We're gonna take the back of the hand to the mat. Just lightly pressing, we're not putting weight on this, where you can lean back onto the heels if this is too much. If this is too much for the right arm, we could stack blocks onto the forearm instead, but just rock from side to side. Wiggle through the fingers, stretching out the top of that forearm. Thanking the hands, honoring the hands. Switch hands when you're ready. Planting the left hand, taking the opposite onto the mat. Back of that hand, just lightly pressing. Again, you could rock a little from side to side, wiggle the arms. You could wiggle through the fingers. And coming back into center, we're gonna flip the wrist forward or as close as we can to. We may be at an angle, but take the energy of the wrist forward, the energy of the forearm up to the top of the mat. Fingertips facing the knee, fingers spread wide. If this is too intense, walk the hand closer to the knee. You can have a little micro bend in the elbow if you'd like. Might add a little bit of intensity. Rock it back and forth if you choose. Find circles if we'd like. Big, deep breaths here. We're breathing into the forearm. We're breathing into the hands. Thanking everything these hands do for us. Every day, all day long. One more inhale. On the exhale, shake that wrist loose. Stir that energy around to redistribute that blood flow. Spreading the fingers wide on the mat. Switch hands. Opposite wrist flips forward. Fingertips face the knees. Again, if this is too much, walk the hand closer to the knee. Rock it back and forth, side to side, whatever feels good to you. Breathe into that forearm. Thank that hand. For the little things, every note we write, every text we send, all the typing we do. Even just to get to watching this video, all the scrolling, oh, it could go on. We have so much to be grateful for these hands. One more inhale here. And as you exhale, shake that wrist loose, shake it up, stir it out, move it around. Take the fists to the mat. Tucking those forefingers in, hands still below, shoulders. Inhale, cow, drop the belly down, lift the chin up. Exhale, cat, pull the spine to the ceiling, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin to the chest. Inhale, cow. Open and expand the lungs. Exhale, cat, tuck the belly in to take the spine higher. Inhale, cow. Stay with your breath. Exhale, cat. exaggerate the movement. Inhale, go. Exhale, cat. One more. Inhale, cow. Really give it all you've got. Exhale, cat. Wring it out completely. Leave nothing behind. So we come back into center, shake the hands loose, really shake those fingers out, maybe even flick out the fingertips. The hands may feel warm, they may feel tingly, that's okay. That's blood flow, that's energy moving. But shake off the stagnant energy, the stuff that got sticky, crunchy there. Fingers spread wide, palms plant, roll out the ankles. Ooh, scrunch and flex the feet. At this tabletop position, if this is ever uncomfortable on the knees, we can always bring a blanket under the knees. Rolling out those ankles, thanking these feet. Spread the toes wide, scrunch them in. Move that energy around. Switching directions of those ankle circles, being intentional with these movements. Really scrunch the toes in. Then when you're ready, lightly tap the tops of the feet onto the mat. Just pitter-patter the tops of the feet onto the mat. Bring in a little bit of blood flow, stimulate the lymphatic system. Maybe a little round of applause for these feet. One more breath. Paddle as slow or as quickly as feels good. As you settle the feet down, knees come out wide, bringing the toes to touch. Inhale to press the heart forward. Exhale, child's pose. Guide the tail back. Slowly press the mat away as you surrender the third eye down. Now we have a few options here. If that does not feel good on the knees, again, blanket underneath, or you could tuck a blanket behind the knee. If reaching the ground isn't quite in our practice, if it is not in our bodies, then bring the ground up to you. You could stack bolsters, blankets, blocks below the belly, all the way up to the third eye. Take the variation that feels good, settle in, and settle down. We are here to breathe. Ujjayi Pranayama. If you start to find a buildup of energy, of tension in the body, inhale directly into that area. Scoop up all of the energy like a vacuum, then dump it out with a sigh. Soften the body. Rest here. Two more slow breaths. Getting everything you need from the surrender. When you're ready, lift the gaze and begin to shift the body forward. Lay flat on the belly. Extend the legs long. Stack the hands under the third eye. And breathe. As you notice the breath, notice the spine. Shift the hips from side to side. Rocking the hips from side to side. Notice the energy distribution in the body. As we bend into both knees, bring the soles of the feet to face the ceiling. Roll out the ankles, scrunch and flex the feet. Flexing those feet, pulling those toes towards the shins, pointing the toes up to the ceiling. Rock them as far to one side and then the other as you can. Maybe try rotating the ankles with the toes spread wide. Take the challenge. Try rotating ankles with the toes scrunched in. Ooh, that's tough too. Finding some variation in between, wiggling the toes. One more breath. We gotta love these feet. As the feet come back into center, lightly flex the feet. Let them windshield wiper from side to side. Bringing the legs from one side to the other. Being as dramatic as feels good with these movements. Letting the legs fall as far to the side as you'd like. You can find hang time when you get there. Maybe you want to relax to one side. Take it. Just honoring what you need for your body. Take one more full breath here. Not shorting yourself at the top of the inhale. Maybe taking a little more. Really exhaling to completion. Maybe squeeze a little extra breath out as the legs come to center. Rest the tops of the feet onto the mat. As we take the hands below the shoulders, fingers spread wide, tuck the elbows in, take the gaze forward. On the inhale, lengthen the arms, press the mat away, lift the chest. Now this may be a lot, we may be struggling here. If that's the case, just come onto the forearms. If it's in your practice, if the spine feels good, pressing that mat away, lengthening in the neck here. Keeping the legs out as wide as feels good, shimmy out the shoulders, shift the hips from side to side. Coming back into center when you're ready, lengthening up out of the ears. Taking those ears away from the shoulders. As we inhale tall, we're going to exhale, take the gaze to the right, over the right shoulder, bend the left leg. Looking at those toes. Inhale, center, plant the foot, take the gaze center. Exhale, look over the left. Lift those right toes. Inhale, center. Exhale, look to the right, left leg lifts. Inhale, center. Exhale, opposite. Inhale, center. One more inhale, get a little taller. On the exhale, slowly lower. Tap the chin. Take the left ear to the mat. Drape the hands down by the sides. Let the shoulders roll forward. Take one breath here, all the way to the top. Lift the spine to the ceiling with the inhale. Sigh it out. Soften it all. Let the feet and ankles flop. So we guide the hands back below the shoulders, pressing ourselves up to a tabletop, nice and slow. Hands below shoulders, knees under hips. Inhale, cat. Round the spine, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Exhale, cow. Release as you open the heart. Inhale, cat. Exhale, cow. Inhale, cat. One final round. Exhale, cow. Finding a neutral spine, make your way up towards the top of your mat. Shifting over onto the sit bones, plant your feet flat in front of you. Making adjustments, we want our blocks within reach. We also want our strap within reach. Have both of those next to you. We're going to lie flat on the back. But we're getting there intentionally. Tucking the hands behind the knees. Draw the shoulders down and back. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Lengthen up from behind the ears. I want you to feel that separation. Maybe a little burn in the trapeze. Accept it. Inhale to lift the heart, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, lift the palms, lower down one vertebrae at a time. All the way flat onto the back. When you get here, hands on the belly, drop the shoulders down and back, flop the feet from side to side. Flopping the feet from side to side, letting the momentum move the legs. See what you notice. Lift the shoulder blades off the mat, draw them down the back. Rock the head from side to side. Wiggle out the jaw and move around the brow. Walk the feet up close to the glutes, close as feels good. Walk the feet out wide to the edges of the mat. Cactus the arms, palms face up, both elbows bent. Light flex into the feet. Windshield wiper the knees. Stay with the breath. Let your inhalation bring the knees to center. And your exhalation, let them fall to the side. Two more breaths. Evening out the sides, taking the knees as far to each side as feels good. Trying to thank these hips, thank the glutes, thank the legs, come back into center. Walking the feet up close to the glutes. You can choose to take the hands to the belly if you want more grounding. You could leave the arms where they are if you prefer. Crossing the right ankle over the left knee if it's in our practice. Having that cross, it does not need to come super close, but we're going to press that right leg, that right ankle into the top of the left thigh. So treat the legs as one unit. Then windshield wiper the legs. So just a gentle rock from side to side. Treating the legs as one unit. It's a beautiful way to ask for release in the SI joint. Ask for release in that lumbar. Two more breaths here. Keep the brow soft. Don't let yourself hold the tension in the face. I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time. Bring everything back into center. So we plant the right foot flat, cross the left ankle over. Having that left ankle onto the knee, pressing in with that, pressing down with that ankle, right into the leg. Tracking that left knee away from us if it's in your practice. So we treat the legs as one unit. Rock from side to side so we find those windshield wipers, figure 4 style. Maybe getting a little release if it feels good. Only take it far to each side as feels good. Remembering our point of our yoga is to connect with the body, to breathe into the body, to help the body. We're not here to force. We're not here to control. We're not here to demand. 2 more breaths. The bottom of that final exhale, coming back into center. Bring the left foot down flat. Feet walk out to the edges. Windshield wiper regular style this time. Just for 1 breath. As quickly or as slowly as feels good. Walking the feet up towards the glutes, knees come to center. So notice here, notice if we have a little gap in the lumbar, if the pelvis when we lie down is pressing forward. Let's lift the pelvis. Let's lift the pelvis. Tuck the tailbone and lower down each of the vertebrae in the lumbar one at a time till the tailbone plants very last. Draw the shoulders down. We're going to anchor down in the head and the shoulders as we take our strap in hand. Getting our strap out. It could be as long as you choose. We want it at least a little wider than shoulder distance. Wrapping around the hands as tight or as softly as feels good. We want a little bit of tension on the strap. As we guide the knees towards the chest, take the strap over the knees. Now here's where we want to adjust. Draw the shoulders down the back, tuck the elbows in. Keep a nice long neck, maybe even tuck the chin. As we have that strap over the knees, take a second here just to breathe. So we want to make sure we're not lifting, squeezing. We're not finding a wind removing pose here. If you find yourself too close, too squeezing, too tight, extend the strap longer. Gather up the slack with your hands. Squeeze those knees into center with your breath. Rock the knees back and forth. On the inhalation, guiding the knees down towards the bottom of the mat. As you exhale, pull the knees into the ribs. Let it squeeze out all of your breath. Go slow. Two more breaths. So we take the strap, we're going to guide the knees in some circles. Guiding the knees around as far in every direction as feels good. So we may want tight, tiny circles today, just gently exploring the sacrum. You may want something larger where we're really exaggerating how far the knees go in every direction. But take your time. Let the weight of the body begin to massage the sacrum, massage the glutes. Don't be afraid if you feel feelings here. Our sacrum holds on to a lot of heavy, sticky energy for us, a lot of grief, a lot of those things that are frankly just hard to deal with on a day-to-day. The body keeps the score. Switch directions of the circle when it feels good. And maybe you decide there's one spot in the sacrum, one spot in the glute where the knees need to be, where you just want to rock back and forth. Maybe you want to spend extra time there. Listen to your body. One more breath wherever you need to be. As the knees come back into center, roll out the ankles, scrunch and flex the toes. A little bit more love for these feet. And in your own time, hook the feet under the strap. So we're going to take both feet under the strap, adjusting as necessary here. Now the feet could be together with the ball mount to the feet touching. We could be at hip distance apart, maybe somewhere in between is what feels good. Feet strapped directly under the ball mount to the feet. Elbows tuck in close to the body, shoulders and head stay heavy. Breathe. As we treat the legs as one unit, find circles with the feet here. Guiding the feet around. Again, as far in every direction as feels good. Today might just be micro movements. It doesn't make it any less worthy. It doesn't make your practice less advanced. The advanced part is listening to what you need. But taking these feet around as far in every direction, explore. Maybe there is that one spot that you're like, you know what, I just need to stay here. Trust that you know what you need. Switch directions when you want. There's no wrong way to do it. Pair it with breath. The bottom of your next breath, gently bring the feet back into center. As we keep the tension on the strap here, guide the legs out wide. Take the feet out as wide as feels good, but you still want the support of the strap, so still keep the tension on it. We're not asking the legs to hold ourselves up here, but wiggle it around. See how far wide that feels good to you. Keeping the breath deep. You can have a micro bend in the knees. Don't overdo it here. This isn't a competition. Wiggle out the feet, the toes if it feels good. Rock from side to side if you choose, pulling down on one side of the strap and then the other. Little massage for the lumbar, little massage for the sacrum. Big deep breaths. And then notice, this is the same pose that we did in the beginning of practice. This is that wide-legged seat. The difference is this time our spine is fully supported. So notice how this feels. Breathe. So we make our way back into center, transition to a happy baby. Bend deep into the knees, keep the legs out wide. As we bend deep into the knees, pulling down on the strap, knees out wider than the ribs, tuck the shoulders down, pulling the strap down. Keep that tailbone tucked so we're not pushing, we're not kicking into the strap, we're not lifting the neck. Soft, steady neck, grounded tailbone. If you choose, you can rock from side to side. Pull down on one side of the strap and then the other. Maintain the shape though. Deep, slow breaths. Bringing everything back into center. Slowly extend both legs long. As we bend deep into both knees, pull the feet in towards the body. So we could be at hip distance, we could be at feet together. We're essentially coming to a chair pose if we're familiar. Tuck the elbows in, pull down onto the feet, bend into the knees, draw the shoulders down, let the head stay heavy. Breathe here. Putting pressure on that lower belly, massaging the lower organs. The ascending and descending colon, big belly breaths. This does bring in blood flow. One more inhale all the way to the top. Pull the feet down, side out. Let that squeeze the breath out of you. As we keep the bending into the knees, slowly release the strap. Plant the feet flat on the mat. Hip distance apart, set our strap aside, windshield wiper the knees. Rearranging some of that energy we woke up, some of those things that may once have been stagnant, that are now awakening. Don't meet the feelings with resistance, welcome them in. We don't have to label feelings good or bad, we just can accept them. Love them, appreciate the body for telling us, and then slowly breathe and move on. Knees coming back to center, feet walk up towards the glutes. We're going to find a supported bridge pose. We can take one block, maybe two. If you're using a block, we're going to use the largest, flattest side of a block. Finding the feet to center. Inhale, lift the hips, slide the block under the sacrum, that flat spot at the base of the spine. Think of it as the back of the hips. So once we get here, if we want a little bit more, you could stack that second block on. You could stack an additional pillow, maybe even bringing the blanket over the block, any combination of this. As you feel steady, find that place where the body feels safe. We may need to adjust a little higher, a little lower. Draw the shoulders down, lengthen in the neck. Hands could stay on the belly if you choose. Hands could be down by the sides. You could cactus arms. You could even reach up overhead if you'd like. The legs have options too. We could stay here with the knees in neutral. You could let the knees fall out wide and the soles of the feet to touch, finding a Baddha Konasana. You could find the opposite where the soles of the feet are out wide and the knees fall into touch. You could send one leg long, switching between the sides. You could send both legs long if you choose. Wherever you are, inhale to the top. Together, let's sigh it out. Close the eyes and just be here. Feeling free to switch variations of this whenever feels good to you. Slowing down the breath, slowing down the body. With every inhale, send a nourishment to the body. And every exhale, soften and release the body. Taking 2 more of these slowest breaths that you can find. Keeping the brow soft, the jaw soft. Get everything you need from this pose. On the bottom of that final breath, return the feet into center in line with the glutes. Now, if you feel steady on your blocks, on your support, only if you feel steady, please join me. As we slowly lift the knees up, hover the knees over the hips. Notice here, the body feels unstable, plant the feet, it's okay. But if you want a little bit more from here, you could extend the legs long, roll out the ankles, scrunch and flex the feet. This is just a supported shoulder stand. This is technically an inversion. This here is a beautiful thing to do for yourself. If you're having trouble sleeping, this or legs up the wall, similar ideas. It's going to slow the blood pressure. Lower the blood pressure, I should say, because it slows the heart rate. The heart's not having to work so hard, pumping the blood back up from the feet, and it's switching our direction. You could send the legs out wide if you choose. You could bend into the knees for a happy baby style. Wherever you are, take one more breath. As we slowly bend into the knees, 1 foot at a time, plant the feet down, hip distance. When you feel grounded and centered in the feet, inhale, lift the hips high. Exhale, slowly remove the block or support, and then lower down 1 vertebrae at a time. Be intentional. Be mindful. As that tailbone hits, take any final movements that your body needs before we come in to our final resting pose. You can windshield wiper the knees. You could give yourself a hug. You can extend everything up to the ceiling. Reach to the ceiling if you'd like. And when you're ready, gently find your final surrender. Let the feet flop. Let the arms come out wide. Keeping the shoulders drawn down. Rock the head from side to side. Move around the brow. Wiggle out the jaw. Settle into the body. Together, let's inhale to the top. Exhale, sigh it out. One more time with a little more intention. Notice any energy that still feels off balance. Find it like a vacuum. Inhale, gather it up. Exhale, expel it, soften the body. Resting the eyes soft. Letting the brows let go, the cheeks soften, the head gets heavy. Drop the shoulders back as the arms rest. The rib cage softens, the glutes soften. Let the legs get a little heavier, the feet flop out. So we find this total surrender of doing. We come to this state of being as you absorb your practice in your final Shavasana. Resting for 2 more slow breaths. Gently bringing awareness back into the body. Wiggling the fingers, wiggle the toes, roll out the wrists and the ankles. Reaching the arms up overhead, find a new morning style stretch, point the toes, maybe arch the back. You could wiggle the hips up and down. As we roll on to our side in a supported fetal position. Taking this moment to just be in your body with your breath. Thanking yourself for showing up. As you press into the mat, guide yourself up into a comfortable seat where we can share a single breath together. Bringing the hands to heart center, let us empty the lungs completely. Pull in a slow, deep, mindful inhale all the way to the top. Try to bring in a little bit more. Maybe one more sip. Then together, let's let it go. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May your entire universe be filled with peace, joy, love, and light. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for getting on your mat and being there for yourself. I look forward to seeing you next time.